Well, it's always a long road to get all the way out to the LA area from North Carolina for racing teams. Maybe not so much in iRacing in the virtual world, but it has been a long road for those in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. 16 rounds in and just one to go for the championship. And after tonight, we're going to eliminate 4 of our 8 remaining competitors into playoffs and send 4 more off to the Windy City in Chicago at the other end of Route 66. And that's where we'll decide our season champion. Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy tonight. Connor, welcome. Very excited to be back here. This racetrack has put on phenomenal racing all week long, and tonight will be no exception with the high power and low downforce of this B-Series class car.
I'm especially happy because I won Monday night. I wouldn't be as happy if I didn't win Monday night or make it into the Final Four. But either way, it's going to be a fun race. It was a very interesting race Monday night with everyone fighting for the top line. Saw a little bit of that Tuesday night in the truck series, but not as severe. We saw a very high fall off with the trucks, which are not what we're accustomed to. And we saw a driver get their way into the next round, into a Final Four. And we should see that tonight. The only series that we have that does not have anyone locked in. Jake Nichols at the top of the leaderboard, all the way back to Clayton Montgomery. Everyone's in play for this Final Four right now, so it should get interesting. As we look at the playoff points right now, Jake Nichols would have came in late if he was having a good Road to Pro night, but unfortunately for him, Road to Pro did not go his way. So whether you want to look at it as a silver lining or not, he is in this race. He will start at the very beginning, 31 points above the cut line. James Scioli, terrible pit strategy 2 weeks ago at Iowa, puts him only 14 above the cut line. Then Furness 6 above, Therian 2 above, and then Beckner is the 1-2 below Therian. They have history from Bristol, if you remember. Brandon Bowie 6 back, and then Matthew Bell, same situation as Monday night. He needs a win to get in. And Clayton Montgomery, as impressive as he's been to make it into the round of 8 with no top 5s all season, his first top 5 of the season is going to have to come today. It's going to have to be in the form of a win, Kyle.
Yeah, it's going to have to come in the form of a win. 22 points back from the cut line. A long way to go. Before we get into the racing here tonight, though, an announcement on the Grid Life side of things. We're in a shirt that was made for our event last year at Road America when we were the support series for NASCAR. Grid Life announced today a brand new festival, the Grid Life Summer Apex at Road America, July 26 to 28. Music, motorsports, drifting, everything in one weekend. Really excited about that. So make sure if you're in the Wisconsin or Chicago area, about 2 hours away from it if you're here in the Windy City. So give that a look, summerapex.com. We head down to the racetrack now for qualifying here, Connor. You mentioned it's a must-win for Clayton. For others, maybe not so much, but the pressure is still on because the field size tonight is pretty large, and with a large field comes the chance to get caught up in somebody else's mess, and you certainly cannot afford that if you want to move on to the playoffs.
We saw it last week. James Scioli on the final lap after he pit got caught up in an incident, maybe of his own doing, maybe not. But Matthew Bell was involved as well. I think Montgomery got a piece of it as well. So there's big potential as Jeremy Miller crosses the line, 4th out of 5 to go so far, faster than Brandon Bowie, playoff driver below the cut line. But this is the one constant of the Pro Series. They've had the bigger fields all season long. Tonight and this week is no different. So you're going to have a lot of players tonight that you probably didn't see Monday or Tuesday night for drivers like Nichols, like Matthew Bell, who both ran Monday night with different drivers in the field. So that's something you're going to have to adjust to, and you got to be aware of that.
So pressure is on for the playoff competitors. Those in the red are below the cut line coming into the night. Those in the yellow are above it, but nobody is locked in. Now, we're now joined by Hunter Sleppy. Hunter, welcome aboard to Fontana, California and Auto Club Speedway. This racetrack has put on an excellent show all week long, but this series has put on a show all season long, and it's about to reach a crescendo here in a moment's time.
I'll say it's like the perfect balance. You have the perfect racetrack and almost the perfect race car to some people's opinions, but yeah, this series has been phenomenal all season long, and it's coming down to crunch time where Jake Nichols is on the, well, he's still got a good points gap, but looking to nag a win here after a rough night tonight. Only 31 above the cutoff line. That's pretty good for him. But yeah, I'm looking at Matthew Bell, Clayton Montgomery. I'm looking to see what they could do differently in this race tonight. If they don't have the pace to do so in the race, might be a different strategy call with 2 tires, although with the track surface like Auto Club, I don't know how well that's going to work out.
Yeah, Connor, you mentioned that Clayton Montgomery hasn't even gotten to the top 5 yet this season as Nichols goes to the top of the board. You know, we talked about in the other series this week how you can't just luck your way in to the Final Four. You can scrape your way through to the round of 8. and to get here. But beyond this, you really have to be able to win races. A top 5, even if Montgomery gets one tonight, isn't going to do it. So this is one of those put up or shut up moments for some of those drivers below the cut line. You can't just coast your way in. You have to be able to win a race. And you almost certainly are going to have to win next week in Chicago, so you better start if you haven't yet.
Yeah, we saw on Tuesday night, we had drivers rise to the occasion. Joshua Balliet was the one that came to mind. That's probably the best run he had all season in the truck series. He came up short, finished in the top 4 position, but it just wasn't enough. That's what a driver like Montgomery, like probably Brandon Bowie and Matthew Bell as well, for example, what they're going to have to do is Skyler goes 3rd. Why start to the top of the board? But as for Montgomery, just like we're talking about Balliet, you got to have your best run of the night the next 2 weeks, the best run of the season the next 2 weeks, or else you have no chance. Everything you've been conserving, you just got to stop conserving. You got to give everything you've got tonight if you're in his position. Also the same for Beckner, who comes in below the cut line. Really, all the guys below the cut line are really going to have to try to have their best run of the season tonight.
Yeah, Travis Beckner almost had the job done on Monday. It seemed like, Kyle, that he was just going to drive away from the field. He was the only one able to do so.
Oh.
But unfortunately, that wasn't the case for Beckner with the late race shenanigans, as I like to call it. Just absolute chaos, which I would expect to see tonight, as he's all starting with the shenanigans a bit early.
Yeah,
Let's warm up the tires, why don't we?
Yeah, I guess that's probably a way to do it. I've never seen it done so aggressively, but you got to try everything. And Travis is kind of back against the wall here a little bit with the red number board he's got. He's only 2 points back from the cut line. Wouldn't call this desperation mode, Connor, but he had one kind of, I don't want to say taken from him on Monday, but he got himself in a bad spot after leading a whole bunch of laps. So does he feel like he's owed one?
I think he probably thinks so, but I don't think he thinks he's owed one by other drivers. I think a little bit of that was on him. He even said on Monday night that the car just kind of got away from him. You know how next gens are. They kind of just get away from you. I don't believe he was a part of the shenanigans. That was just kind of a racing incident out of turn number 2. The shenanigans got him to 6th place, though, or maybe 5th. I don't know what the official position is because we've had all sorts of appeals in Cup, but that's not the point. The point is that he was the dominant driver on Monday night, didn't get that win. And you could argue Tuesday night he had a shot at the win as well. Antics with Brad Slaughter Jr. came into play. I don't know if the 8th's in the field. He is, as Beckner goes 6th, so who knows if that ignites again. But either way, he's had 2 very fast races, but he hasn't gotten any results to show for it, besides if you want to count Monday night, where he really got through a wreck in the final lap. Took luck into that as he goes 6th. David Weishart, non-playoff driver, still on provisional pole. He had pole on Tuesday night. He probably should have won that race as well. Tuesday night, Weishart was the fastest. He might be the fastest again tonight, as Colin Fambro was also fast Tuesday night. He goes down the back straightaway, and you could see these bumps really affecting these Xfinity Series cars.
Well, back to Beckner, you could have argued that last week he had it in the bag. It just hit at the wrong time when the yellow came out, and he just could not get through the field in dirty air. So 3 good races in a row for Beckner. I feel like at some point might be due tonight, as Fambro comes across the stripe to complete his lap. P20.
That's Bryce Senesac across the stripe. We'll have an onboard camera with him, only 30th quick though. So we've got Senesac, Delonte Ballard, and Justin Munsell with onboard cameras, as well as Travis Beckner, I believe. Now Beckner has disappeared from the cameras there tonight, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Bronson Stafford just getting lined up to start a lap. John Furness has yet to put a lap on the board, and he's one of those drivers in the yellow who is above the cut line coming into the night. But with a poor or no qualifying effort, Connor, he would already start below the cut line.
Yeah, you don't really want to start the back in one of these races. We saw how that messed with Michael Curran Tuesday night, involved in a lap 2 incident, and the yellow did not come out for it. That put him behind the 8 ball. He finished 8th, Curran did Tuesday night, but it just never worked out for him. He never really had a shot because he pretty much needed the win. So it would be very interesting if Furness isn't able to qualify. He is a former winner here, might be our most recent winner here, if I'm not mistaken. And we've had 4 different races at this track. He's won Season 3. Skyler's our most recent winner. He's one of our 4 different winners. And all big names have won here. Cameron Hearn, Alan Elwood, John Furness, and Scioli. So we might see a 5th different winner, but we have plenty of repeat winners. Plenty of winners already at this track trying to repeat.
So speaking of big names, I don't see Clayton Montgomery at all.
I do not.
No, you're right about that. Not here. And that effectively would be a forfeit, but it was going to be a long shot anyway. But, Connor, are there any parallels between this racetrack and where we're racing next week? I think the parallel I would draw is the multi-groove racing, even though the tracks are very different shapes and you race them very differently. I think there's some inherent knowledge and the aggression and that sort of thing that might transition over to next week. I do think we'll see a similar group running up at the front, even if it's not exactly the same.
I think the real constant that you can find here are the bumps. The bumps are the one characteristic I think both these tracks have with each other, as well as some multi-grooved racing. But those bumps, how you get back on the throttle, how you roll the center of the corner over those bumps, that might translate a little bit from this track to the 1.5 miles in Joliet, Illinois. But these are still pretty different length, pretty different banking as well. So you'll take what you can get as far as getting ready for next week. But you got to make it to next week first as we look at the results. Jake Nichols only 8/1000ths of a second off pole from David Weishart. No playoff drivers inside the top 11 to 20. Brandon Bowie, not a good qualifying effort, 23rd. And John Furness did not get a time down, notably.
He is
He'll
on
be doing
track.
he'll be doing the last to first challenge.
Yeah, he is on track now. He's just not going to make it to the stripe. Almost. He was 2 seconds shy of finishing a lap, and he will run out of time. Race fans, make sure that you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. And if you're looking to eat healthier in 2024 without having to spend extra money, HelloFresh is here to help. Choose from over 40 calorie smart meals and protein smart meal options each week. Every meal arrives pre-portioned, giving you less time to prep and more time to enjoy your meal. HelloFresh also gives you free breakfast for life with an active subscription. So what are you waiting for? Click the link to get started with America's #1 meal kit today and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. And you can head to twitch.tv/Area iRacing and in the chat, !HelloFresh. All right. Well, man, that 28 just seconds away from qualifying in. Connor, he will have to start at the tail of the field. How big of a blunder is that to miss finishing a lap by 2 seconds and start 37th in a 100-lap race?
I mean, with the pace he has at this track, it's probably like a 25 position difference at least. And this is a race that you really don't want to have that happen. This race historically does not have a lot of cautions. Season 2 had the most cautions, and that was 3. Last season's race had no cautions whatsoever, and that's when Skylerly went to victory lane. So with that history in mind, it's not a great track to do that at. It's not going to be terribly difficult to pass, but like we said, this is the biggest field of the week, and this is probably the worst time to not put a qualifying time down. He was the only one not to put a time down, so like you said, he's starting dead last.
Well, here is your field for tonight's race. It is a long way down. David Weishart starts first in the number 33. Jake Nichols rolls off alongside him in that number 73. He's not locked in, but might as well be. He rolls off in second.
And then third place, James Scioli. Bad pit strategy 2 weeks ago. He'll start third, trying to right that ship, only 14 above the cut line. Nico Garcia starts fourth.
Matthew Bell below the cut line, needs some help tonight. Starts fifth, alongside Ben Pierce to the 65. Good qualifying effort for both those cars.
Good qualifying effort for Travis Beckner. I'm sure he wanted better, but he'll still start 7th, 2 below the cut line. Notably 2 positions ahead of Shane Therian, who he's 2 below currently. Alan Elwood starts 8th. The most recent winner in the series.
In 9th place is Shane Therian in the number 9 car, and Justin Sogak rolls off 10th in the number 88.
Number 11 of Greg Mitchell, who had bad luck at Bristol. That's why he's not in the playoffs anymore. He starts 11th. Brody Falliker, who had a good run ripped away from him at Iowa, starts 12th.
In 13th place, it's Chris Rabel and his number 29 Ford Mustang. Shane Abbey starts 14th in the number 84.
15th position, the number 60 of Joey Chapman. He had bad luck Tuesday night as well. 16th place, a former winner here, Ryan Hartz.
17th place, Justin Munsell in the number 6 Toyota Supra. Alex Bell starts 18th in the number 15 car.
Jordan Martin, usually in iRacing colors, he'll start in the 19th position once he loads in. Jeremy Miller in his 609 Motorsports Matco Tools Supra. I don't think he started in the top 20 lap this season, but he'll start barely in today.
21st place, Colin Fambro in the number 18. Bronson Stafford, 22nd in the 61.
One of the furthest starting back playoff drivers in the field, Brandon Bowie, the number 23, starts 23rd. I'm sure he didn't want that. He has work to do alongside Brad Slaughter Jr., who's in the Final Four in the Truck Series.
And 25th place, Ed Robertson in the 64 Camaro. Danny Ware starts 26th in the number 49.
27th place will be the 62 of Alex Weaver, sporting Kevin Harvick, Shell Pennzoil colors, starting 27th. Eugenio Alonso starts 28th.
29th place, it's Garrett Grant's number 5. Casey Licata starts 30th in the number 50.
31st place, another 609 car, another Super. Delonte Ballard 31st, Bryce Senesac 32nd.
In 33rd place, it's Michael Muhammad returning to the series alongside AJ Roderick, the number 56 Toyota.
35th place will be Steve Durham, a couple teammates on this row. He's 35th, Spencer Brown's 36th, and the last driver in the field starting 37th, playoff driver John Furness. He starts above the cut line, but that number will drop once we take the green flag. That's our 37-car field for tonight.
All right, well, I have picked Travis Beckner a couple times this week. It has not worked out, so I'm going to ditch that strategy for tonight. Well, I'm going to go with a pick that might be a little bit on the safe side, but I think Jake Nichols is going to be able to race the calmest of everybody because he's got the biggest gap to the cut line. I think that will pay dividends without having to be desperate. And 73 wins this race for me.
I'm not taking it from you because I don't think I'm bad luck since I won on Monday night. I'm going to keep saying that as much as I can. So I'm taking Travis Beckner. I think he will be able to, this is a car I think that he can run well in, so I'm going with Beckner.
All right, that leaves me with James Skyerly. I'll gladly take that pick.
All right, here we go. 100 laps, just over an hour worth of race time tonight. The penultimate race in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. From one end of Route 66 to the other, this week to next. Fontana, California at Auto Club Speedway. Green flag flies, and we're racing on the West Coast. Nearly 4 wide midfield here as Nico Garcia drives up to second place. A bit of wobbling out of turn 4. Cars scatter, but we keep them all in the right direction, at least for now.
Got really tight out of 2 with Nichols and Garcia, but I think the 73 is going to take that spot. They're 3x3, much like we saw Tuesday night out of turn number 4. Don't know who hit the wall, but they seem like they got it straightened out and going already as Weishart paints the white line. Jake Nichols goes to the wall, and this is already really tight with Joey Chapman putting Shane Abbey almost in the wall. How about the crossover by Garcia?
It looked like Ryan Hart's on the 3 got in the wall there in turn 4 that last time by. Meanwhile, Nico Garcia was just going at it from the get-go as they're still trying to sort themselves out here, Kyle. This is like the, we're in the bash.
That's Danny Ware in the 49, and he's spinning, and the caution.
Brandon Bowie's pitting. Brandon Bowie had an issue there somewhere. He's going to pit.
We stay green.
Wonder if he has a penalty or something. No damage.
Yeah, let's go back and see what happened to Danny Ware. He was just loose. Was it all on his own, though?
See this in turn number 1, or turn number 3. I'm all over the place. How about Michael Muhammad in his return to the series? Bump to the 49, puts him in the wall.
And then what happened to the 23? He just hits pit road.
Huh. I feel like it's hard to get a jumped restart penalty, but I don't know what other penalty you'd get. Passing under to the inside, maybe.
Maybe he thought the yellow was about to come out and he was going to hit pit road early to try and break that strategy, but I don't even think he stopped. I think he just drove through.
Yeah, that's a weird one for sure.
That was the 28 of John Furness, and all that early chaos, he's driven up to 22nd place, so his progress has been brisk. And the less time you spend back here, the better, Connor.
Yeah, I would think so for sure. You want to make up as much time as you can, but you don't want to make up too much time too quickly. And what I mean by that is you could get up to the top 20, maybe top 15 pretty quickly, but you don't want to wear your tires off too early. Then you might start going back to where you came from if Furness wears his tires off too early. So you got to be careful doing that, but he's doing a good job so far. As Bowie has rejoined, he's still on track. He's 37th, but very far back. And we did get confirmation it was passing to the inside on the start, which is a rare mistake to make on an initial start especially, and it's a costly one for him.
And nowhere to go but up from here for Brandon Bowie as Weishart's looking to drive away from the field, looking similar to Monday night with Travis Beckner in pursuit, but now Jake Nichols runs in second, and 7 Skyway's fallen all the way back to 9th. I'm not sure if that's tire preservation or just the rest of the field going at it.
And that 73 moving forward here. Nico Garcia has also had a pretty good start. You're looking a little ragged, though, racing with these guys up here. And Ben Pearson, the 65, a very nice qualifying effort for him, as we pointed out. After that session, he's going to be immediately on the top groove here, Connor. Is there enough rubber up here to support this?
Crash! We got a car flipping. It's Justin Anna Sogak in turn number 1. He went end over end. I don't know who else is involved. I think Fambro and Slaughter. I think playoff drivers got through, but the 88 went flying in the air.
Wow.
That's
Big
a car
crash.
that's ready for the dump.
And, oh, man.
Oh, wow. Senesac. Goodness. I think really the only one at risk was Furness playoff-wise. I think he's through. He might have been, he's right behind it. Let's see how this happened. Sim Rat Market replay, an early workout. Oh, 4 wide by Slaughter. Oh, and looked like Jordan Martin into the back of the 88.
Man, that was a huge wreck.
Didn't they have a, I feel like they had a contact at Bristol.
Going back, watch the 38. Gives him a shot here off into turn 1. Going to bounce off the 18 and then into the 60. And Chapman is just going to go for a ride here, watching the 88 right off the right door.
Oh.
That is a huge hit for the 88. And Furness. Did Furness get damage out of that?
I think he barely got through. Car looks clean live. But it's almost like we saw this in real life in the Cup Series, Hunter, with Joey Logano, John Hunter Nemechek. When you're right tucked up behind someone, you've got to be ready for them to hit the brakes or lift for the corner. It didn't seem like Martin was ready for that. Wow, Furness just got through there, I think. Bronson Stafford just had to hit the brakes.
Watch Senesac's view of this.
I know Senesac is shaking his fist. He was up in the air and on his side Tuesday night, and he's yelling, "Oh, that's a caution, but I'm not. When it's me, it's not a yellow."
It almost looks like Anna Sogak had thoughts of backing out of 4, and the 38 wasn't ready for it. Then the 8 and 18 got together, just avoiding it. But somehow John Furness gets through all that. Has had some pit stops. I feel like I think Justin Munsell from 13th was the first driver to pit. Bowie also pits after losing all that track position. He's got a lot of work to do now.
About a third of the field on pit lane, maybe a little bit more than that. 40% of them. And on the left-hand side of the screen,
strategy.
yeah, those with a 1 have pit, those with a 0 have not. And Hunter, to your point, interesting strategy call because the way this race is going to break up. Probably a little far for a 1 stop, so if you pit now, you might be able to get away with 1.
Yeah, I was about to say this. I was actually planning on this race going caution-free, just like last season, but somewhat similar to season 3, where there was an early caution, but there was green flag racing from then on. So I'm kind of expecting it to be a little bit similar towards that. Not 2 tires. Some might have taken 2. I would assume everyone took 4. That strategy call might play dividends in the very end, and especially for Brandon Bowie. That's a big saver for him because of that early penalty. So he gets jumbled up with the rest of the field and is not on a disadvantage anymore.
Yeah, so Bowie took 2 tires on that stop, and so did Casey Lakatos and Michael Muhammad. Those 2 will start at the front of those who just came to pit road, 21st and 22nd. Everyone else from Munsell on back, with the exception of Bowie, took 4 tires.
I guess if Lakatos is going to come back down, so does Munsell and Bowie. So maybe, I don't know, would think that you're probably not taking tires. Maybe thinking fuel strategy. I don't think you're going to be able to make it on 1 stop from here. Although I might be close. Definitely looks like those 3 are topping off, so
well,
maybe that's something to note.
Jack's up on the 23.
Maybe taking the lefts. No, he is taking 4. Lakatos definitely topped off. Don't know if Munsell did or not. Either way, he'll be monitored.
Well, first caution of the night, and we got a great look at our SimRat Market replay. Race fans, head over to simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use so you can stay focused on the racetrack. simratmarket.com.
Big break for Danny Ware, too. He got put in the wall by the 77, lost a lot of time, but might have kept him out of that big crash with the 88, so he'll be able to recover. As Weishart probably feels like he was owed one from 2 weeks ago, Tuesday night at Iowa, and also this Tuesday, where he led the most laps at Auto Club in the Truck Series and lost, so he's looking for redemption as well.
Yeah, 2 cars out so far, Joey Chapman and Justin Anasogiak from that big crash on lap number 6. We'll restart with about 91 laps to go in this 100-lap race. David Weishart is your control car. We're back underway, and a big checkup on the outside.
That was Miller, who immediately pulled out. We saw that a lot Tuesday night, a lot of stack-ups on the restart. Matthew Bell's going to get second from Jake Nichols because of whatever happened there, as we're looking at John Furness move through the field early on again.
Trying to get that outside lane rolling. Seemed like it was the lane to be in on the initial start, and looks like it's the same lane to be in now as Matthew Bell is in second. That's crucial for him. He's in a scenario where he could make it in without the need of a win, but certainly the win would definitely help, as actually he's 12 back, so he does need that win, but second so far, pretty good for the 43.
Travis Beckner up to 6th place here. Jake Nichols will slot in behind Matthew Bell, and they're still 2 and 3 wide with the rest of the field. I think if this race does get past first 15 or 20 laps of a run, though, Connor, we could see, like we saw last season, a flag, well, I guess restart flag to checkered flag race under green. If this race spreads out, I don't think we'll see any more issues after that. It just tends to be one of those places. So that will change the strategy in a big way. And so I'd be getting spots as quickly as I can, because they get progressively harder to steal back later in the night.
We're going to see that become probably an issue. That was the issue the previous 2 nights here. Just getting that long run in was impossible on Monday and Tuesday. We just never really got to that point. Have not seen a green flag pit stop all week. So this would be the series to do it, as we've seen so much this season. Clean racing, not a great start, but a product of the track. And if these drivers can get the cars under them and get a little more spread out, we will see that green flag action, I think, as more and more drivers get spread out. As a battle for the lead, Matthew Bell's looking for it on the inside from David Weishart.
Trying, but that outside lane keeping the 33 of Weishart in front for now. They're almost dead, even in the middle of 3 and 4. Jake Nichols on the coattails of this, watching this one all play out. Meanwhile, he's actually got Nico Garcia on his inside, trying to take third away with help from teammate Alan Elwood, who had that incredible win last week at Iowa. As they're fanning out 3 wide. Oh, that was an aggressive block from, I think it was Jeremy Miller.
Yeah, a lot of the straightaways become kind of a battleground here, because you're all fighting for the outside lane generally. And then you got some people that feel like they can just drive to the bottom and take some spots the short way around. So it gets very aggressive on the front and back stretch as drivers file in and out of traffic here, depending on if they want clear air or if they want to follow the leader.
And speaking of follow the leader, we have a new leader. Matthew Bell cleared the 33 of Weishart. He should get a bonus point for leading a lap, barring a big run from the 33, but that really shifts the cut line with him leading this race. It puts Beckner 1 back. It puts Therian only 1 to the good. It puts Furness 1 back. We were talking about earlier in pre-race, if we get a different winner, everything's out the window. Throw the notebook out the window for all I care. It really shakes things up with the 43 leading his first lap.
A very crucial bonus point there for the 43 of Matthew Bell. That could change the outlook of the playoffs as you look at the current standings on the bottom right. Meanwhile, battle for second and third still going on, as Nico Garcia is getting a tap from teammate Alan Elwood down the backstretch. Almost going to have enough to send underneath the 33 of Weishart, but to no avail, and we'll try and complete the pass on Jake Nichols and secure third.
Miller and Furness had a little slight bit of contact, but it was nothing severe. They're racing so hard back here. Another thing we've seen all week long, just the midfield is the craziest part of the entire field on restarts, Kyle.
Yeah, Furness is past the worst of it now, but this is the area I was worried about when he started at the tail of the field. If you get caught up in any incident here, there's almost nowhere to go. This racetrack feels like a mile wide, but it gets very narrow on corner exit. Look at the 09 almost getting tagged from the 38 of Jordan Martin. That off into turn 3. Very tight 3 wide between the 29, the 09, and the 38. The 2 gets tapped.
Uh-oh. He's going to come back up right in front of Jordan Martin. He did a good job keeping it down there.
Oh, Hendricks, not Hendricks, that's Robertson in the wall in the 64 car. They were checking up from that, and one of Durham got a little bit too high, had to force him up, and into the wall he went.
pretty tight off into turn 1 here. It just shakes up the orders so much. Every lap is an etch-a-sketch that you shake. It's just what picture is going to draw next lap around. Is 77 of Muhammad and Delonte Ballard are side by side. Some continuity issues there for some of these drivers is making this a little trickier to follow as well, Connor.
Yeah, he's been having issues all night long. It's kind of the theme of his area career, not the internet. The internet aren't really helping him, but here comes Travis Beckner trying to get to the outside. He is to the outside. Nico Garcia, who had a good qualifying run, stayed top 5 for the first 15 laps, and Beckner's going to relegate him. Beckner into the top 5. Theory and Skyler Furness all on the line. We're still waiting for Brandon Bowie to climb through the field. We talk about those incidents in the background. He is still back there behind all that 30th position.
Yeah, create the onboard here as Garcia is trying to block that 9 of Tyrion from getting a run on his outside. This is 6th, 7th, and 8th in the back half of the top 10. Slaughter's driven all the way up inside the top 10 in that bright red number 8. He was involved in that caution just a moment ago with Colin Farnborough just trying to check up and avoid things. But Kyle, he's made some impressive work to get up inside the top 10.
Yeah, the car actually looks pretty good. There was some slight contact between him and the 18, but it doesn't seem like it's damaged that car at all, and it's still got speed in it. He's driving up through the field again. Low of 27th on the day. He's back to P8 right behind Shane Therian, but he's even driven right back past the 28 of John Furness as Matthew Bell and Jake Nichols battle for the top spot. Then it's Elwood, Weishart, and here's Beckner looking for 4th.
That's kind of pretty much, I mean, Slaughter should have good practice of it. He had a lot of issues on Tuesday night, back to front, and did a lot of that. So he's got practice. That's why he's back up in the 7th so quickly, it seems, as he's ripping the top all around this track. As Beckner continues to paint the white line, trying to get to the inside of Weishart. Little bit there. He's going to try to get back in front of Garcia, which he does. Looks like he's going to stall for the time being in 5th. Garcia wants it back. It's going to be tough to do on the bottom, but Garcia's not trying to wait in line like we saw a lot of Monday night, as Jake Nichols is still hunting for that lead. He's only going about a groove lower than Matthew Bell up ahead, but not willing to go all the way to the white line. Bell hit the wall. He got the wall. Now Nichols has it easily.
Whoa, in front of him is sideways. That's Nico Garcia run on board with Brad Slaughter there. They were just all over the place, and even he's a little bit sideways, trying to corral him into turn 3.
Yeah, that checked up the outside of the...
4 wide, almost.
That checked him all up, and then Garcia had to jump out of the throttle and shift it all the way forward, and he was chasing it through the rest of turn 2. It's going to hold up the 27 and allow the 8 through. Remember, they also had a run in the 8 and 27 did on Tuesday night. We'll see if any of that bleeds over into the Florida Staples Area Pro Series.
You would think not. Jake Nichols leads his first lap of the night, although points really don't matter for him as long as he gets a good finish, but it's important. Matthew Bell not leading really shifts that cut line. It's almost a lifeline for Beckner and Therian just to be even on that cut line, but it just keeps them that much closer with each other. And John Furness is only above them by 1 singular point. Really tightens things up.
Yeah, very crucial there from the 43 of Bell, just trying to push it and not let the 73 Nichols by, although he did just that from getting into the outside wall. It's very tough here whenever you're in this scenario where you're in a must-win. You can't make any mistakes. Everything has to be perfect, and sometimes it just slips away a little bit like that. But only a 5th of the way through, and Bell still inside the top 5 for a good run. 2nd is up for grabs. Elwood and Weishart door-to-door in turn 1.
Weishart going to throttle up here. Everyone kind of cheating up to that outside lane, but guys, we're about 10, 12 laps after the restart, and now we're stretching the field out. There still is plenty of battling, and at any moment could be a disaster, but if we go too much further, another 10, 15 laps, I can easily see this race really settling into a long green flag run. So has anyone considered that possibility? Connor, all week long, we've had cautions basically at 20-lap intervals. If we don't get that tonight, I'm not sure what drivers are going to do.
I say right now, from what I'm seeing, if we get a long run here, it's probably the best case for the drivers that are close on that cut line, because Jake Nichols is starting to set a pretty fast pace. Weaver's in the wall. Jordan Martin will go right on by. The 73 is looking really strong. This is not something he's been able to do a lot of this season. He's got 1 win, I believe, on this entire season, which is probably not as much as we expected him to do, but he's still been so consistent, gotten the regular season title, 30 plus to the good entering tonight. Setting a great pace right now. No pressure as they're still battling pretty hard for 2nd. Weishart's got it. Oh, Furness got loose in the battle. The battle's really for about 7th. As Furness is still trying to get further up through the field, but that 73 looks dangerous tonight. Well, look
They
at
got that one win in Atlanta earlier in the season as they're still duking it out in the back half of that top 10, actually 10th up for grabs as just looking at this race. It's a shame that they tore this place down. I mean, I know they sold the land for over $500 million, but I mean, this is, Kyle, this is like the perfect racetrack. I know Chicagoland's great and all, but this to me is the ideal racetrack.
Well, Chicagoland they're not really utilizing either. And both of them, let's be fair, both of them put on their fair share of boring races, but I don't think the track was the problem back then. And it isn't today. Look at this. This is dicey out of turn 4 between this group of cars.
right in the middle of it is Slaughter, all the way up to the top 5, just that quickly. Garcia's back to 6th. Alex Bell is 9th position, which is a great run for him. He has not had much luck this season in Pro Series himself, so he's climbed through the field quite quickly.
As low as 26th in the race and is now in the battle for the top 10 spot and trying to go further up as Beckner almost collided there with the 28 of John Furness. That's what you saw there.
Did you see the margin between the 15 and 28, Hunter? That was insane.
He was slicing and dicing through the field. He's not done yet. He's looking to get past Nico Garcia. But we'll take a look at the Simrat Market replay of just how close it was.
I mean, look at that. You can't do that.
Man, that was scary.
Watch this.
Can't fit a piece of paper between that.
Got a spin. Someone's on the grass live at Steve Durham, as that was close. Probably couldn't fit a piece of paper. Durham went through the grass. Not sure why, but he kept it straight. They keep it green.
Well, let's work out our Simrat Market replay here. And whoop, go back a little further on the Simrat Market replay.
He might have been looking at the replay while we were looking at the replay. I don't blame him.
Just washed up, kind of lost track of how many cars were out there. And yeah.
That was Bowie who got part of the wall in that. He has pretty big right front damage. That was a bigger incident than we thought. Playoff driver.
Yeah, and there is some damage on the right front of that Hunter.
Yeah, he was hit from Brody Falliker, from Steve Durham, and bad night going a bit worse for Brandon Bowie. Still trying to keep it rolling in the right direction, though, but it's taking quite a toll early on.
Tell you what, I'm sorry to cut you off, Kyle. Alan Elwood got a windshield full of Matthew Bell. Bell pulled the slide job out of 4, and it probably didn't work out great. Elwood was not happy with the radio. You could see the damage where they made contact on the right recorder panel of Matthew Bell, as Elwood's going to slip back to 6th because of that.
Oh, man, we got that
damage.
Oh, wow.
Actually, a decent chunk of damage right here.
Oh! Yeah, he used them up,
not really. Yeah, I sure did. Slaughter did a heck of a job not wrecking the 10 there, as Elwood, our most recent winner on the Pro Series side, finally got back to victory lane. As Slaughter will shove the 43 into turn number 1. It looks like he's fighting for his life right now, Hunter. He's trying to keep this track position after leading some laps, after getting in the wall, but it looks like he's starting to struggle. As here comes Alex Bell for that 3rd position. He might be on fresh tires. If so, they're starting to work. He's up to 3rd.
Bell went around Bell for 4th on the racetrack there. Bell fell down to 4th. Bell moves up to 3rd. I love saying that. Slaughter just rolls that outside line in the top 5, but he's got Alan Elwood on his inside and a gaggle of cars behind him, including a couple playoff drivers. John Furness, James Skiley have cracked the top 10, and they're trying to get closer towards that top 5.
Brad Slaughter had that thing halfway hung out of turn 4. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see how many laps drivers have on their set of tires, and Alex Bell and Brad Slaughter and Bronson Stafford are the 3 drivers in the top 10 who have slightly fresher tires, and it seems like now it's making a difference. Nico Garcia scrapes the wall there, yeah.
And caught a bit of that, a little bit too much, but that'll happen at Auto Club whenever you're trying to rip the Larson line, as I like to call it, and you try to leave little to no room between between your car and the outside wall. Words are tough sometimes.
They sure are.
That a lot too.
There was
really
you go ahead. I was going to say there was a race a couple of years ago that was referencing the half-mile paperclip at Martinsville, and I said the half-mile and that was all that came out. So I totally get it. Battle for 2nd here, Connor. Why Sergeant Bell?
Really why everything's starting to stack up is we're starting to see those fresher tires actually make their mark. Alex Bell is the furthest up on those tires. He's all the way up to 2nd, by far the best run of the season for him currently. I believe Bronson Stafford might be the 2nd driver on new tires. Munsell, we know, definitely took tires. Jordan Martin, now they're all fighting for the top 10. That 15 looks like he might have made a good strategy call here.
Stafford is one of them, but the second one on track right now is Brad Slaughter in that 8th. That would explain why he's been just rolling that outside line. Stafford made his way up here. Jordan Martin's also cracked the top 10, and Justin Munsell is there as well. New tires starting to make their way towards the front.
Crash. Caution.
Michael Muhammad.
Steve. That internet connection. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, this is...
Alan Elwood here. And
No, that's Danny Ware.
Oh, sorry,
Who he
Danny
had
Ware.
contact with earlier.
Oh, man.
And that... Oh, man.
Yeah, he jumped him for sure. That's clear as day. That's Danny Ware finishing the job there. Man, I think he did.
Yeah, I think that Dr. Pepper can has been popped, I would say. Completely. It's obvious. It's obvious as it gets.
Yeah. Well, that'll throw the caution at lap number 30 as Jake Nichols is finding the pace car. And new caution logic here, so we were able to carry some pretty good speed until he caught it. And, well, we'll send everyone back down to pit lane here with 70 laps to go.
Probably not the best thing for the 15, the 8, but they went long enough to the point where that probably doesn't hurt their tire situation near the end of this race. So, Jacob Bell just called Danny Ware to the hauler. Not surprising.
Yeah.
But this will mix up tire strategy a little bit, Hunter, as we'll note that's a hauler call.
Yeah, that's a, you know, when you get called up there, you know what you're going to get told about it. You go, yeah, are you done now? Are you happy? Because that's...
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think he made his point.
Section.
Yes.
Basically. What I was going to say to you, Hunter, is that we ran out of tires on Monday night. Didn't have that issue Tuesday night, really. But with these yellows falling the way they are, like they did Monday night, that could put us in a position where we might be scarce for tires again.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the pit strategy here, I think personally this works out great for Alex Bell, Brad Slar, those guys on new tires that were making their way towards the top 10, because it allows them to get jumbled up on the same playing field now with, well, actually, no, never mind. The more I thought about it, the less I was confident in what I was saying. Never mind.
I've been there too.
That's why we are not crew chiefs.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, a couple cars. Brandon Bowie's going to roll through, I think, and he'll go back around and hit again.
Going for a lap lead.
Yeah.
Much better way to do it. He didn't get it. Well, he's going to hope to get it. I don't think he's going to get it next time. We saw Licata's try that Monday night and never worked because we have the quick yellows here. But it's a much more it's probably more effective than rushing to the back of the pace car than spinning in the tri-oval like we saw Kurhan do Tuesday night. That was wild.
Yeah, I mean, he immediately negated the point that he had just already had a 4X, so maybe not. But
yes.
Yeah, either way, it's not going to work out for him. So 32 laps into this race. Connor, it's been pretty green. I know we've had a couple of cautions, but this race seems like it is going to spread out. If we kind of get a yellow around lap 60 to 80, I think we could see one of those super chaotic Auto Club finishes that we always kind of queue up for. But if not, I still think we could go green to the end. So how does that change your strategy if you're in the playoffs? How aggressive do you get with overcuts or undercuts, or do you just try to play the status quo and split it in half?
I think we could get interesting with strategy here because we're going to restart with about 67 laps to go. Still not in, still can't go to the end from here on fuel, but with how long you could run this close to the finish of the race, you could see some drivers who are close on points, like Furness, like Beckner, like Thieren, maybe try 2 tires, maybe just a heavy undercut with 4 tires. It's very interesting with where this yellow falls and where this restart falls, because we might see those drivers who either need to beat some drivers on points or just need to win altogether, like the 43 probably does. We might see some interesting strategy because of that.
Yeah, not to mention you got guys going for the win up here like David Weishart, Alex Bell, even Brad Slar, guys that are, they're not in the playoffs, but they want to win races. I mean, we saw that a week ago with Alan Elwood. He was just running to win races and did just that. Could see it again tonight, especially from Weishart. It seems like he's got the car to beat.
Well, we won't see the 49 running anymore. He's been parked for intentional wrecking. Yeah, believe it or not. Again,
I guess the first intent wreck in this series anyone got parked for. I remember it was Thieren at Darlington on James Coey. I remember that one.
Yeah, There are opportunities to make it not look intentional, and that was not one of the ones that Danny Ware showed there. But we're going to restart.
I wonder if he used the excuse where, oh, my dog was at my pedals and I was trying to steer him away.
Oh, the steering was all messed up. What was Matt Kenseth's excuse?
Oh, that flat tire. He was like,
oh, yeah. Wearing
he was like, oh, I don't know, left front went down.
Wearing sunglasses so you can't read his thoughts.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right, coming to the restart, lap 34. We're back underway here from Auto Club Speedway.
Shane Therian was not happy with Jeremy Miller. He popped out to the outside again, and Therian takes exception to that, but all legal as long as you don't obviously jump it like Bowie did to the inside. All clean at the front. Nichols leads. Weishart and Bell will now battle for second.
Oh, slide. Nico Garcia spinning midfield crash.
Caution's going to fly once more. That was Alex Weaver, who was unfortunately in the wrong place at the wrong time for that.
That was a promising night for Nico, too. He was top 10, running top 5. See what happened here.
Ooh, kind of accordion effect there. And along for the ride after that.
Just try so hard to save it, but sometimes you're not capable of it. That overcorrect hits hard. That snap to the right is deadly. And Alex Weaver was right in the path of it here. You see it happening. Hope you can skirt to the outside. It just wasn't possible.
Lucky that it was only those two.
Yeah, I would say. John Furness, that's another one he was right next to, basically. Look at him. He is right behind Weaver.
Right in the middle of that storm.
Two of Greg Mitchell got quite the perspective out the windshield as well.
I believe Shane Therian's trying to talk to the admins about that restart by Miller.
Let's go back and look at it. We've got an opportunity to, so we might as well. Go back to the restart.
Miller.
Oh, yeah, it's looked kind of funky, but it's hard to tell without having the leaders totally in shot.
We got to remember Jake Nichols. You know who Jake Nichols and Jeremy Miller are teammates. They are in the same Discord channel, so there's a very good chance.
Very top left. You know, he doesn't jump the start, but it does look aggressive in a vacuum, right?
Pays off to have teammates. That's what I'll say, because they're in the same Discord channel. I think it's pretty obvious the 73 is helping the 30 time it, and that's fully legal. We had questions about that after Talladega in the Cup race. That was not called.
I mean, it looks bad from here, but Therian can't see the leader. So, yeah, I don't think that was a jump. It certainly looks. I can see where Therian's coming from his perspective.
But an issue has been warned. The warning has been issued. See, I did it.
Oh man, end of the week, we're getting tired.
Warning issued by Jacob Bell. It was a little laid back. It was
I think that's
car length back.
Was it for the layback or for a jump? Because he definitely laid back.
I would think the laying back is the issue, but they didn't penalize that in the Cup race at Talladega, so you know it always pays to have concrete rules.
Yeah, I think the laying back I can definitely see. I don't know that he jumped it, but warning's not a penalty. Drivers will use that up if that's something that you get.
He will restart on the. Will he restart? He will restart on the top again. Jeremy Miller restarting 8th, which is one of the best runs of his season. 39th in points, and he's ran every race.
Tops give you that 5-mile-an-hour buffer. You might as well use it, right?
I would say so. Only it was like that in pit road on iRacing. It's not really the case.
They already give you the 5, so that kind of makes it just 5 miles an hour faster.
That is true. Trying to look at the points. little crazy. I mean, Jake Nichols winning the race is not changing anything, considering his place in the points. But notably, Travis Beckner has fallen back. He was top 5. He's now in 10th. He's a position ahead of Shane Therian in 11th. Really tightens that cut line between those two, but with no new winner from below that cut line. That cut line is 10 between Beckner and Matthew Bell as they run. Even as good as Matthew Bell's ran, we've seen all night long with those points, it's almost going to take a win.
Well, I would consider it so far so good for Beckner. -2 heading into tonight's race, and Brandon Bowie having misfortune certainly goes in favor for Beckner. Always goes in someone's favor, so still close to halfway, but still a whole lot of racing left to go, Kyle.
Yeah, John Furness could change the calculus here a little bit, but...
Yes, he will, because that's wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I figured. There we go. 3 points. And we're going to restart lap 38 of 100, and Jake Nichols is off and away, and this time the 30 stays in line, and we'll get restarted here, about 12 laps shy of halfway.
Seems like drivers on these restarts, they get closer and closer to that wall on every restart, as all 30, got about 31 cars still on track after that most recent crash, and Bowie's at the back of it, Nichols is at the front of it, as he has been most of the night, and now Weishart and Bell, now they will battle for that second position as they're 3 wide with the 9, the 6, and the 61.
There's the end sim setup there. You see with the 6 of Justin Munsell right in the middle of that hornet's nest that he was a part of in that last caution, was being used as a ping pong ball, but keeping it straight with a bump from Jordan Martin into turn 1. Scott Bronson Stafford to his inside as he's looking to build that run on the middle lane. Thought he was going to go outside, but right behind him you see playoff driver John Furnish trying to work his way back inside the top 10.
Comes a bump. There's nowhere to go with it because Ryan Hartz has jumped up to the outside. They're staring in the bottom. Battle for the lead is heating up here, getting pretty interesting here up inside the top 5.
There's up to 8. We're trying to see if he's going to charge through the field at any point. Seemed like he fell back to about 14th before the second to last yellow. They're blocking to the white line in the background as Nichols tries to continue to lead. Weishart does have a run. He hasn't really challenged Jake Nichols for this lead since he took it. He's going to look to the inside here. See what type of run you get off of turn number 2. We got 4 cars looking for the lead. Scioli's up to 4th now, trying to get it from the 15 of Bell. He shut the door on the 15.
Yeah, that's dangerous racing there when you're playing with the game of inches, and see just that with the 7 of Scioli jumping up in front of Alex Bell, who's trying to look to get past Matthew Bell, the 3rd spot on the racetrack. He's not going to get much from that bottom. It's really that outside momentum that's going to keep you rolling, and it's going to keep the 43 close to the bumper of Weishart, but start to see them do the snake method, follow the draft down the straightaway, and Bell still in close proximity to Weishart as we round up Warrington into turn 1.
Thought he would try to get to the quarter panel and use the side draft. That was something we saw a ton of on Monday. Didn't seem to be that effective on Tuesday here, Connor, but as the race goes on, I'm sure drivers are going to try every trick they have up their sleeve to try to find an advantage.
You would think so. You just won't see people chasing that right rear like they were on Monday night because it, like you said, it just is not as effective. So that won't really be utilized for a long time. I would hope. They're supposed to do updates on the aero on the trucks, and when you can side draft in the truck cars, it's going to be a struggle because we're going to see a lot of wrecks trying to side draft in a truck soon enough, but not the case yet as Nichols leads. Beckner's up to 7th, starting to climb up forward, trying to chase down Jeremy Miller in 6th.
Field rolls into turn 1. Yeah, side drafting, I think at this track is so much more of a challenge, especially like front straightaway, probably not so much. Backstretch, definitely, with as many bumps as it is. It's almost like you're on a fucking Bronco going rampage down the backstretch, but that's why you see mostly single file, and you see some side-by-side racing there with the 7 and the 43, but you try to side draft, if you go over one of those bumps in the wrong spot, then that could result in you turning said driver.
Side by side for 3rd, Matthew Bell, James Scioli, Alex Bell. Ed Weishart is to the tailpipes to the 73, but he's not able to do much with it, so he's going to try the high side here again and build momentum. One thing that we're not seeing is any rubber really building up significantly anywhere because, Connor, they're using the whole track from white line to the wall, and so it's not really going to collect rubber in any particular area, even with temperatures that we're seeing north of 110 degrees.
You'll probably see most drivers on that top line, but yeah, you're seeing everyone just searching for grip because of how high the temps are, and more importantly, this is a clear, sunny day, so sun's beating down on the track, makes it even less gripped up, as Alex Bell almost put Miller in the wall up ahead of that battle, trying to block for that top side. But yeah, that's the main reason you won't see rubber anywhere, is because you're just always searching for grip at a track like this, and it's hard to find.
Very hard to find. That's why you see so many guys sprinting out trying to find grip, whether it's all the way on the bottom, the groove in the middle, or even on that outside line right next to the wall. What makes Auto Club such a fun racetrack. And speaking of fun racetrack, we've got a fun battle on the fun racetrack. Travis Beckner is trying to climb inside the top 5. He's working around Jeremy Miller. Now to the inside of Alex Bell, trying to go for a 2-for-1 special. Not going to be enough, that outside line. And there comes Jeremy Miller, actually going to... He was about to make it 3 wide, but he's going to give Beckner a bump to keep him door to door with the 15.
Yeah, a little bit of a block there to halt the 30's momentum. Jeremy's going to jump up to the outside lane now as Travis moves forward up as high as he's run all day in that 27 car. As we keep an eye on that cut line, it's very tight between him and Shane Therian, and they're running 5th and 8th right now on the racetrack.
And John Furness needs to get going.
Crash behind him. Car spun, and there's several cars in it. Ben Pierce,
Bowie's in there.
Bowie, Eugenio Alonso, and Casey Lakatos.
Looked up, I thought they were crashing harder, but it's still a pretty decent crash. Bowie's got a lot more damage, left rear and straight on the nose. It's not been a good night for him.
Where it starts, I think it's going to be this group.
He had such a good qualifying run. Fell back.
65 of the 29 right there, understeer, push, and Alonso into the back of Pierce, and that's what kind of triggers the whole thing.
Yeah,
quite
Pierce,
a few people on spin cycle.
Yeah, Pierce got tight. Rabel got to the outside trying to miss it, and then it just all stacked up behind it because everyone's just trying to stop out of the corner, and that's the opposite of what you do out of the corner. It just all stops. You just don't have time to react to that. That was on board Spencer, not Spencer Brown. I think Durham, yes.
I think that happened in the back of the pack, because if that happened up the front, all those cars spinning out, it was like a wall of just smoke.
This really, we were talking about strategy, Kyle. This really makes it interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of the field has come down only once. Some of the field has come down twice, and a whole bunch of cars are going to come down now. I think this is kind of the obvious call to make, but I think there are some cars that are going to deviate. Alex Bell's going to stay out. Brad Slaughter's going to stay out. Why are they staying out, Connor? Because they came in on that first pit stop at lap number 8, and they used up a set of tires then, so they can't afford to take a set now.
Yeah, so this is pretty much, this is not going to go well for these guys, but they have no choice. You can't be down to one set with over 50 to go on the restart, as Joey Chapman gets another lucky dog. He'll be 7 down now. No one else who's still in the race is a lap down currently, although that might change. So we'll have about 5 drivers stay out here. Race on pit road was tight. They were all over each other. I think the 73 got it, but it was close. And Matthew Bell, I thought he was going to take second, but Weishart did get it.
Well, what was that, our 4th caution of the day?
Yeah.
All right, well, that just set a new track record for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series.
I don't want to clap for that.
4 isn't so bad. I mean,
no, not yet.
Not yet, but we got a long way to go. I did want to note,
groundbreaking
guys,
caution,
that the 5 drivers that did stay out have kind of a lot of laps on their tires. So this is not a position I'd like to be in. And even the drivers that, I mean, I don't know, don't like this, because if we get another couple of yellows every, 20 to 30 laps, we're going to end up in a scenario where you're on really worn out tires with no way to get new ones. So take care of the ones that you're getting now, because you're going to need to.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. There's going to be a key restart for those drivers who are close on points. Furness, Beckner, and Therian. They're going to have to try to get through those guys as quickly as possible once they get to them, as we'll have 5 drivers staying out here, including Lakatos, who's in that most recent yellow. It's interesting for Nichols and important for Nichols to get through quickly as well to keep that control over the race that he has compared to the 33 of Weishart.
There's Bryce keeping hydrated, and I think he just noticed that, hey, they're looking at me. And here's Delonte Ballard. I don't think we've talked about him all night long. Not considered a bad thing. He's kept his car clean, kept out of trouble. Running in the 21st spot, looking to continue to make ground up.
Justin Munsell, he's getting set up for the restart here in a moment from third place on those older tires. That's going to be quite an interesting restart for him.
Ernest and Therian.
That's a driver not on the racetrack.
No.
It was on Monday.
Yeah. I'm not even looking.
Oh.
I'm looking at the points. I didn't even know you were showing me.
I was really hoping to catch you in a moment where you were staring at the screen because it would have been very funny. But
cameras are always rolling.
Cameras
Yes,
they are always rolling, but I can't always go back to them. So
that would be game changing if you could.
Yeah, there is actually a replay function in OBS that would allow me to replay stuff on Zoom, but I don't know if I want to wield that power.
I think it's best if we just leave that untouched.
The last Infinity Stone.
Yes. Along with split screen iRacing, it's not worth the time, money, or investment. Sorry, guys. But I already got 2 computers in here. I don't need a third. Green flag.
Ooh, wheel spin from Lakatos really stacked things up. Scioli got to the outside. 73 is already up into the battle for 4th. Definitely got the best restart. Matthew Bell might be 2nd on fresh tires.
Yeah, look at the 43 work his way to the bottom there and might clear the 61 before they get to turn the backstretch, as Furness was really sideways there in the back. Going to get a bump from Jeremy Miller. So multiple rows of 3 wide, almost 4 wide there as Licata still falls to the back.
That's a tough scenario to be in right now. You know this isn't going to work. You didn't do this because you thought it was going to be fast. You did this to conserve. So there is some utility maybe in just sliding your way to the back without making any drama and just kind of waiting for the next yellow because you don't want to be the yellow counter. As the battle for the lead is on here, Jake Nichols takes it away.
Nichols takes it. Matthew Bell wants it back, but he's going to have to get through Bell first. Alex Bell, that is. 15 chop the nose. I thought I saw a spin in the background. It might have been, I don't know, someone's blinking badly, so I don't know if it was a real spin as Nichols will break the draft. Matthew Bell back up to 2nd.
They're working their way 3 wide down the backstretch there. Furness still working on his way through the top 10, running in the 8th spot right now, but still in a hornet's nest up there with Beckner just in front of him as Slaughter is going to go to the outside by the 7 of Scioli. He's in the top 5 now. Ryan Arts, he got into the wall very early on in this race, running inside the top 10. Keeping a good run going in turn 1.
Believe it or not, just crossed halfway. About 35 minutes of racing left to go. Matthew Bell was hung out halfway to town, and he'll collect it back up. Brad Slaughter's going to bounce off the wall, and there goes Ryan Hartz all the way onto the apron.
Oh my gosh.
I'd take blame for that. Commentators curse at it again.
Watch the rejoin. Gosh, I thought he was going to kill that inside wall. How did he save that? Look at how far pointed. Look, he's in the inside wall, basically.
Well, if this were Pocono, he'd definitely be in the inside wall with how much they pushed it up towards the racing surface. But Auto Club is a very wide racetrack on and off the racetrack, so keeps the 3-car alive for now, but good run just got tainted from that.
Yeah, I was torn on it when they redid that to Pocono, but it also keeps cars from accelerating down there. Contact Bronson Stafford.
Around goes Stafford, headed to the inside wall. It's going to be a hard hit. Hard hit for the 61.
And there's not going to be a caution for that either. Below the racing surface. Horrible way for his day to end.
Just in a bad spot there. That was the worst angle in the worst place. Crash and race over.
But there's also not been a good restart for Shane Therian. He's all the way down in the 23rd position, and that is absolutely not what he needs with Beckner running in the top 5. Puts him much further out in points compared to where he was. 17, as a matter of fact. I believe he took tires, so not sure what happened. Oh, Furness hit the wall. He hit it pretty good as well. Also not what he needs.
Yeah, playoff contender is getting a little bit too squirrely there on the racetrack. Only halfway through this race, and he's closing in on that bumper of Jeremy Miller as we go on board with the 28, but a lot of chaos happening in the last couple laps. Still no caution, but up front for the lead. Matthew Bell to the inside of Jake Nichols trying to get a run around him. not quite, but it's going to be side by side heading into turn one.
Here comes that side drafting we were talking about. Matthew Bell's going to go for the white line. Maybe try to clear himself up, but that outside is just so much faster. He's going to try to clear the 73. He does. Chops the nose, and Nichols crosses over. That was tight.
This is Matthew Bell's season. He has to race aggressively. He doesn't care if it's too aggressive or not. It's all out the window, like we talked about Tuesday night with Balliet. All respect's out the window. You need that race win to get in to Chicagoland, and he's going to leave it all on the track today. He's going to try to hang the right rear of Jake Nichols, and he keeps it. Nichols back to the bottom, tries to get away from any potential side draft. Slowly, that 43 will chase him lower on the track as David Weishart's just going to watch this battle unfold.
Nichols leads that lap on board with the 33 of Weishart, and not too far behind, actually almost looking to inside is Travis Beckner in the 27. 4 cars racing for the top spot as Bell trying to drive away on that outside lane, almost close to that outside wall. Oddly enough, early on in the race, he hit the wall in the lead trying to drive away from Jake Nichols, so trying to do the opposite of that as they head into turn 3.
Oh, man, Furness was really tight to somebody's door. That was the 30 of Miller. That was very, very close. And Furness really needs to make sure that he is up here just in case, because Matthew Bell is now leading, and that changes the math. Just 3 points above Travis Beckner.
Yeah, not what he needs whatsoever. This puts Theron in a horrible spot regardless. I mean, his running back there doesn't even matter, but we'll see if he can get his way back through the field as we're flirting 4 wide for the lead. Not quite all on top of each other, as I can only imagine John Furness probably not. Oh, Ballard in the wall. Probably not happy with battling Miller, but that 30 is probably his best run of the season so far in 6th. But Furness with that right front damage, he might start to struggle because that fender's pretty pushed in.
That's the beauty about it, though. 4 different lanes being used, and that's about half of the lanes that you can use in the middle of the turns from the top 4 drivers in the running order. So Bell trying to drive away now from the 73 once more. Weishart closes in on the bumper. Beckner to the bumper of Weishart as well, and Scioli's cracked the top 5 minutes just watching this battle unfold in front of them in the middle of 1 and 2.
Oh, big sideways slide for Matthew Bell. Kept his foot in it, but it's not going to prevent the 73 from getting a run.
Yeah, if you want to be fast on the long run, cannot have that happen. If you slide the rears like that, that's going to be deadly for the long run. You're going to be blowing a right rear tire at that rate. He's going to fight back on the high line, but cannot have more slides like that because you're going to start sliding up into the outside wall as well. As I'm sure Nichols is frustrated. He wants to clean air and just pull away on the long run, but that won't be the case. As we'll see if Weishart wants the top line. They're going to block for second. The 73 up the track to protect.
And out the back of Weishart's car, you see Beckner to the inside with Scioli still closing in, but just watching this battle as it unfolds because of how close these guys are racing to each other. Don't want to get involved in this as, well, they're almost scraping the wall back there too. That's Jeremy Miller and Shane Abbey not too far behind from this as Nichols pokes his nose out and is back into turn 3.
By the way, quick the note, Kyle, is Therian's issues are internet related. He's dropped down the order. His quality's at 50 currently. He's had to drop back to stay out of everyone's way. This is killing his chances.
That's not the kind of time. It's so frustrating because it's out of your control. There's not really much you can do other than wiggle the cable and hope it reconnects to full quality, but that's very frustrating. I want to point out Greg Mitchell up to 9th place. He has dodged and weaved through a bunch of wrecks tonight and is now inside the top 10 and actually just passed John Furness for 8th.
Try to complete that pass, won't be able to do it. Another pass trying to be completed is the one for the lead. They are 3 wide with Furness, Abbey, and Mitchell. As they sort that out, the battle for the lead's about to change hands again between Jake Nichols and Matthew Bell. I think Weishart and Beckner are a little faster than these two at this point, but passing's much harder to do when they're side by side, 2 by 2 ahead of you.
And Bell is going to give a massive push to the 73 of Nichols, so Nichols will lead this lap. Weishart still giving that push to Bell down the front stretch. Beckner closing in door to door for 3rd, and now he's going to send it into turn 1, trying to take the lead away from Nichols.
And Beckner hasn't yet led a lap. That'd be a pretty critical point in the battle against the 28. And big defensive line there from the 73 on the backstretch.
I thought Weishart was going to stick it 3 wide middle. It wasn't the case. Bell might have tapped the wall on entry, but I think that short run pace is starting to go away, and the long run pace might struggle on the Matthew Bell machine as he's going to look to get the run off of Beckner. Beckner shuts the door. He looks for the crossover, but I think he lifted a little too much. Weishart's just going to gang up on the 43, go to the outside, and Travis Beckner climbing closer to that battle for the top spot.
Beckner riding the momentum into turn 1. Going to go a little bit lower than the 73, but can't get too low. Still has Matthew Bell to the inside, almost 3 wide for the lead. Beckner going to try and get alongside the 73 down the backstretch. Nichols out of lift a little bit from that turn, but Beckner going to settle in line and try to eye him up in turn 3.
There's a grin on his face. Here he goes to the bottom. Came in under the cut line and could race his way to the lead with 40 laps to go, and they're ticking down pretty quickly right now as we get deeper and deeper into this race. Scioli just slammed the door shut on Matthew Bell.
Yeah, that was a very tight door to shut as Beckner won't lead a lap that time. Gets up to second, but not a lap led yet. Would be very important for him to do so, as we'll see how the 73 fights the 27. They haven't really been in battles a lot in the Pro Series a lot this season, at least late in this season. This is a rare chance for them to duke it out, maybe for a race win.
Beckner going to let the 73 go that time down the backstretch. Couldn't quite get a strong enough run to his quarter panel. Weishart still in pursuit, trying to close in on Beckner. Meanwhile, the 43 Matthew Bell, they're all the way on the outside. He's fallen to the 5th spot. He's just trying to hold on to what he can. Beckner still can't get alongside Jake Nichols. That might put him at a disadvantage down the front stretch as the guys snake on down.
Nate Therian in that number 9. Is going to be in a bad spot because if we don't get a caution, Connor, the chances of him making up any of these spots is pretty much nothing.
And it's not really, it's weird because iRacing servers have been a little odd. Alex Bell is lagged out of the server as well, which is a shame, but we heard from him it's been storms in his area, so maybe the same for Therian, not quite sure. But either way, worst time of the season for him to do so because he was running decently enough where he was in a point battle for that final position within the cut line, but like you said, without a yellow, looks very scarce. But it's going to be close. We might still have another pit stop to go, but we just don't know yet as the battle for third. We'll see if it's a battle. Weishart gives the outside to Scioli. The real battle's for the lead.
And the top 4 all within half a second of each other as they file into turn 1. We see the 7 of Scioli drop all the way down to the bottom, trying to find a way around the 33 of Weishart. Can't get around him to do so. Beckner going to be flirting with that wall. That does swerve to avoid it, and that's going to allow the 33 of Weishart to close in. Maybe give him a bump, maybe make a move to the inside. Just going to keep his nose tucked into turn 3.
Yeah, Travis could really sort that outside groove out of 2. He's willing to run a lot more aggressively up against the outside wall, more so than Jake is. Remember, Jake Nichols doesn't need to win this race. I'm sure he'd like to because he hasn't won enough times this season to whet his appetite. But Travis Beckner, I don't think is going to feel bad about taking advantage of Jake Nichols. The only downside of that, got to race him next week in Chicagoland for a championship, and he'll remember everything.
He will most certainly remember everything. There's no doubt about that, as we didn't really pay attention a lot because we were paying attention to Reinhardt's save that took the rear bumper off of Brad Slaughter, killed his speed. So the 8's off track as well, which we didn't note. So he's out of this race. As looks like Nichols is starting to have that long run pace, maybe enough to get away from the 27. They raced hard Monday night. They're going to race hard again Thursday night, but it looks like Beckner's getting really tight off the corner. Here comes Scioli for second.
Scioli's been slowly and methodically working his way through the top 10 and the top 5. Now trying to get clear a second, but Weishart going to give a little bit of momentum to the 7. Heading into turn 1, might have enough to clear the 28 of Beckner. Don't count out the 7 of Scioli just yet.
Oh, watch Weishart. He's loose, and Beckner's right on the tailpipes out of turn 2, and that's going to cost both of them some time.
He seemed pretty content with riding behind the 33 at this point in the run, though, as we're starting to get to that point where we are getting spread out. We are seeing the long run start to come into play. You've yet to see the 73 move down the track. He's running that middle line almost exclusively. No one else is really running it at the front. Scioli's painting that white line while the 73 continues just to run a little higher, get a bigger run out of the corner, and maybe use a little less right front tire. That gap's up to 0.3 of a second, but we'll see if Scioli can chase him down. These were the 2 that battled out at Kansas about 3 weeks ago for the race win. It was Scioli taking the checkered flag that day. Nichols trying to maybe even a score in this playoff run.
These guys have had their fair share of battles all throughout area and in the Pro Series, whether it's for Cup titles and now Pro Series titles on the line here. Nichols and Scioli, they're sitting good in the points right now, but doesn't deny the fact that these guys still want to win a race. But at what cost, Kyle? At what cost? Because you don't want to rough up your opponent too soon, because you see Nichols is leading. He's locked in currently. And then James Skyley has so many points to fight. You don't want to rough him up too much because if you rough up one driver, that driver's going to remember that heading into next week.
Yeah, and again, till end of the year, I mean, if you've got a score to settle, we have a long enough off season that we'll generally forget about it by the start of next. So you might as well do that, get yourself parked in that last race if you absolutely need to. So don't leave that on the table. We already saw the 49 go down for that earlier in the race. 21 laps on these tires for most of the field, 36 for those that stayed out on that previous caution. So Connor, I would imagine with 32 laps to go, you're thinking soon for pit stops potentially, but maybe hoping and praying to get a yellow flag to not have to worry about green flag stopping here.
We'll probably see Therian and Brandon Bowie go as long as they can, trying to get track position on a yellow, but I don't think there's any way we see drivers make it on fuel. Just we were barely able to make it 53 laps in a Cup tank, which is bigger than an Xfinity Series car's tank. So yeah, we probably aren't too far away. We pit under yellow around that lap 45 range, so logic dictates we'll probably be in the next 5-10 laps.
Just throughout the field, you see the three of Hearts has made the climb back inside the top 10 after that near catastrophic error just a handful of moments ago.
Now this was back on lap 51, and this was the slide he had out of turn 2, and I cannot believe that he saved it, and here he is running 6th right now, just got by the 28 of John Furness. So he's got a short memory. He's going right to the front after that big save about 20 laps ago.
Why, as a former winner here, car control like that, you need car control at a track this slick to be able to compete for a race win, and tonight might be no different, as Matthew Bell just said over the radio he's going to be pitting this lap. So this is almost a little earlier than what I would think, but his situation needs a win, needs track position, so it looks like he's going to try it right now as we're looking to see if anyone comes down. Looks like Matthew Bell is going to be the first.
Well, Nichols almost came down across the bumper of the 7th Skyley. You see a few more takers coming into pit road. Chris Rabel in the 29. Is that Casey Locanis behind him? I can't tell the glare.
It is, well, nope, I can't actually tell you who it was. A.J. Roderick was one of them. Was that the car you mentioned?
That might have been him.
The lead, Nichols and Scioli, very tight nose to tail here. Scioli's kind of wearing out Jake Nichols for the time being.
Seems like it. I don't know if Jake Nichols takes it that way, but certainly seems like they're both content to run different lines, as didn't seem like he got a great of a run off that top side like he usually would. Either way, like I said, these two just running their own lines and making good time while doing so, as the 33 hit the wall last time by out of 4 a little bit as they motored by Matthew Bell just on fresh tires out of pit lane, and he has to make time up quickly. Skyley went for a slide job, hasn't led a lap yet. He'll take an extra bonus point if he can, but Jake Nichols is going to try to take it away from him.
Yeah, that last time in 3 and 4, sorry, Kyle, but the 73 ran the bottom. He was keeping note of what the 7 was doing because he was making up so much ground running that bottom bit. And now we start to see him. Oh, the 9 of Therian a little bit sideways. Don't know where he went.
His internet is finally dropping.
So no one else pitting.
Clinging to it, but I don't think for much longer.
It's really not fair sometimes, is it? His quality is 89, so he's going to stick it out. Yeah, he's on track.
Trying to figure out where to go. Yeah, I mean, it's distracting for sure, so he's going to get back rolling. I wanted to point out that Jake Nichols is about to lock up the point for most laps led. I think this time by, well, actually, Skyley stayed lead back, so if Skyley leads from here to the end, he might be able to take that point back, but again, these two aren't the ones that need him.
It's unlikely he will. We'll probably see drivers go along on their set of tires and negate that, although Skyley will finally lead his first lap of the night, so give him the third playoff driver to get a bonus point for a lap led, but another driver who's, as he runs, in a decent point situation where if he would be running even in second, he'd almost certainly be on to Chicagoland.
So closing in on 25 to go. Pit stop's still on the way for most of these guys as the 7 takes over as the new race leader. Led his first lap of the day just now. Trying to keep the 73 and Nichols at bay, but keep in mind these guys still have to make another set of pit stops. Matthew Bell in the 43 back there, he's a lap down. He just came off pit road. He's done with his pit stops, and look at how fast he is on new tires compared to old tires, as Nichols was a bit sideways there.
Yeah, the 43 is going to make up a bunch of ground. I mean, he wasn't in a position to really win the race, so I guess try something a little different. And this race is closer to the end than you think. It's only 18 minutes away from now. We're going to crown a winner for this race, so don't mind pitting a little early. The fall off is about 2 seconds, Connor. It's definitely the biggest fall off that we've had this week, but it's not catastrophic fall off like we'd see at Darlington. So maybe you could wrestle the tires a little longer.
Yeah, we don't want to wait too long, though, or else you'll just won't give yourself enough time, really. You just won't give yourself enough time to make that ground up on fresher tires, so you're just going to have to be very, very careful with how long you want to wait it out. As another pit stop, Weishart from 3rd. He will come down to pit. Jeremy Miller from 10th. He'll be another driver to come down. So the floodgates are starting to open as Matthew Bell seemed to get the jump on everyone else who pit earlier. He should be the leader on that strategy, but he'll need a well-timed yellow to hold on to it, and I'm sure he will be defending fiercely once it cycles out.
Yeah, that's the downside of being the first to pit early, especially at a track like this where tire wear is such a key factor. The less laps on your tires, the better, and 7 to 73 right now, they're looking to make their tires last as long as possible as they're nearing the end of this race.
30 laps on this stint, and there are 25 to go.
Here we go. Brian Hartson, banned furnace. Can't speed, that ruined Euroshack season. Don't forget about that. Looks like everyone's good. This brought in a lot more drivers. Senesac, Ballard, Alonso, Spencer Brown.
On the 73, I kind of want to beat this 7 to pit lane. Just by a lap, not by more. Or race him onto pit lane. And 3, black flag,
Brian
speeding
Hartz.
on entry.
Such a good run, such a good recovery. That's not gonna bode well. That's probably race over. Kieran Travis Beckner's in this time by, so he will pit from what is now the 3rd position, responding to Weishart. Top 2 do not come down, so Beckner will get the jump on them, interestingly enough. That could be enough for him to get ahead of those 2.
As long as he doesn't speed on pit road, he'll be fine, but that's unfortunate to see for the 3 of Hearts. I was about to say, with how fast the 3 made up all that ground after nearly wrecking out, I would have considered him the favorite to win had that speeding penalty not deterred him.
Off into turn 3, just over 20 laps to go, and traffic approaching from behind and all over the place. If one of these 2 decides to beat the other, and here comes the 7.
Pretty important. You don't always see it like that. You almost see the leader have to beat 2nd place to pit lane, but that was the case. He will bring a lot more. Brody Falker, he's having a good run. And he's in. Jordan Martin, Garrett Grant, Shane Abbey.
Boy, it's getting dicey here.
27's back on the racetrack. He has dodged the speeding police bullet.
Looks like Nichols is pitting. He goes at the bottom to let Furness have the top.
Yeah, here he comes. This is a pretty late braking here. But I gotta get it woed down. He's really fast, but I think he got it. Spin!
Oh, spin right behind him! Alan Elwood! Elwood
He was
just spun trying to get on the pit road. I don't think that's going to bring out a caution.
Reset. But he reset.
Man.
He just straight up quit because of it. He was having another top 5 run. Transition. Like it.
That's a shame.
No fun. No fun to end a race like that.
No, sir.
Jake Nichols is getting his tires, and we'll see. The first car that we should see would be the 43, who's going to blow by the 73. But he's already got 9 laps on his tires. He still has to go 20 more times around.
Meanwhile, Brandon Bowie will be the one to take the lead for now. As had another one pit there. That was Shane Therian, who is way back. Bad to worse for him. Bowie will lead. He'll stretch this out with how poor his race has gone. Elwood said he's had storms rolling in himself, so he had to leave. So a lot of storms affecting a lot of drivers tonight. But Bowie, his case, he's been running so far back, he really has no choice to run this out as long as he can, as Steve Durham's having issues out of 4. I thought he was about to spin, but he kept it straight. The one's having issues as well, as Matthew Bell would cycle out to be the race leader. For now.
For now.
Yeah. For how long is the question, because he's got David Weishart only a second and a half behind him.
Yeah, that's the make it or break it factor here, where you're the 43 and Matthew Bell. Got 20 laps remaining. That's still a long way to go. And like you mentioned, the 33 closing in. 33 is just going out there to win races. He doesn't care what your playoff scenario is, whether you need to win to get in like Bell or you're just good on points. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can close that gap and try to take the lead away from Bell. Also going to be interesting to see if the 7 can catch up, and with the freshness of his tires and the 73 of Jake Nichols, might have a good chance of doing that.
Yeah, Jake Nichols scored 11th right now. James Scioli 7th. So only 1 lap of difference, and Jake Nichols has got quite a bit of work to do to run down that 7. But Brandon Bowie is just biding his time here. 35 laps on this tank of fuel and set of tires, and it's Matthew Bell who's got 11 laps on his stuff, and David Weishart who's very quickly approaching with only 6 laps.
And Matthew Bell is going to try everything he can to keep Weishart behind. I'm not sure what he can do. The tire difference is about 0.6 of a second last time by. He'll probably try whatever he can, no matter what. This is his season right here. I just don't think he can do much. As a matter of fact, he really can't fight it. He's going to give Weishart the bottom here and just hope for track position to work out for him.
Weishart sends in the turn 1 and 2 all the way on the bottom. Bell trying to build up a run in the outside groove. Not going to be enough to close that gap and manage it between himself and David Weishart. So once things cycle through, Weishart will be the new race leader. Meanwhile, back here, this battle is continuing to rage on inside the top 5. Rabel to the outside. As you see the playoff picture down on the bottom right, with 3 of the playoff drivers in your current picture right here, with Beckner, Furness, and Skyler on the bottom.
Yeah, Furness and Beckner running pretty much nose to tail here. Furness in, Beckner out, but that's with Bowie leading. As soon as Bowie drops out, calculus shifts a lot.
A little shift out of turn number 2, as a matter of fact. Weishart's already there, followed by the lap down Hartz. 33 to the race lead. Bowie's chances of a final 4 berth slipping. And you see that slip as he still runs second in on 1 point until he pits. Then it will really shift into Travis Beckner's favor as Matthew Bell will take that point away in just a moment.
And here comes the 23. Thought he was going to come to pit lane, but he's just that slow on the bottom.
Just, yeah. Almost wonder if he's trying to save enough to make it. He's ran a 44-second lap last time by.
Trying to cling on to something to potentially save the season. A late caution could come out and jumble everything up. Jumbled up was the 09 of Senesac on Tuesday night. Was up in the air on his side. No yellow came out for that, but he's recovered nicely all the way into Thursday's race. Started all the way back in 32nd and is fighting to stay in front of Brody Falker for the 11th spot. So good run for the 09 of Senesac.
Yeah, nice job. He's also dodged a couple of bullets tonight. So he started 32nd, but after that, it's been all forwards from there.
And he got 6 of our 7 playoff drivers in the race tonight, all there 2nd through 7th. The only problem, Bowie still has to pit, no one else does. And then Theory, and obviously with internet issues, computer issues, whatever it is, lap down in 26, needs multiple yellows at this point. We might not even have enough laps left for that to work. Real race for position, Skyly and Beckner, no love lost between these two. They'll race each other pretty hard. We'll see if Beckner maybe wants to work with the 7 to push up to the 33, as he seemed pretty content to bump draft the 7 that time, as they'll look to get closer and closer to Matthew Bell for second.
Don't want to be too aggressive when you've only got 2 points separating yourself from making it and not making it, but again, the 23 of Bowie has yet to pit, so that gap might go up a significant amount once he makes his final pit stop, but you would expect him to come down pit road unless he really is trying to make it all the way on field.
There's 14 laps to go. Under 10 minutes remaining in this penultimate race of the season for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Got a good look at that Rick's Hot Sauce car. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see if Jake Matheson can take home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings, as Scioli, the Rick's Hot Sauce car, sails by for second.
Matthew Bell, now his playoff hopes, his championship hopes are starting to fade a little bit here because he needs a win, and this was his shot, and it doesn't seem like it doesn't really seem like the undercuts worked well at all. It has gotten David Weishart a 2.3 second lead, but he didn't undercut nearly as harshly as the 43 did, as now he falls all the way back to 5th. Jake Nichols will soon pass him for 6th, and that cut line will dwindle even further and further away for Bell, and it'll get even further away once Bowie pits. He's all the way back to 12th at this point. Matter of fact, that's how much that affects that.
Oh, Weishart winning would be the 5th different driver to win in the Pro Series here at Auto Club. Scioli is the furthest up on the field, looking to make it a 2-time winner here at this track. John Furness, Elwood, and Cameron Hearn are the other winners in this stint for area at Auto Club. And 2 seconds separating Weishart and Scioli. That gap's starting to diminish a little bit, Kyle.
Furness lifted for Jake Nichols. I find that intriguing, maybe hoping that Jake can run down the 27 perhaps and dispatch him, and he's going to.
This is kind of
long-term loss, right? Or short-term loss, long-term gain maybe.
Kind of the same strategy we saw at Darlington in the Cup side. A lot of drivers just letting the drivers on fresh tires go to hope that they battle the guys on older tires and bring them right back into the fight. But it's a much different track to do it at. Darlington, you have a lane and a half to do that. Auto Club, you have, what, 6 lanes, maybe 7. So I don't know how effective that would be doing that here, because don't really get slowed down too much battling side by side here because of all the grooves you have at your disposal. But for Scioli and Nichols, Hunter, it's really a race up to the 33.
Yeah, Scioli's starting to diminish that gap a bit more and more as we're nearing 10 laps to go. 1.7 seconds separating Weishart and Scioli. Nichols trying to close in that ground as well with Travis Beckner and John Furness inside the top 5. Matthew Bell just holding his own ground in 6th, just trying to cling on to something that could change his race. And Greg Mitchell, Brody Falker, Senesac and Jeremy Miller battling for 9th, all inside the top 10, having strong runs.
10 laps to go, and you can see the last lap run by the drivers on track. Weishart at a 42.7, Scioli at a 42.2. The gap is just 1 second, so they're going to catch him within the next 3 laps.
See Scioli doing a little bit of Indy 500 snaking down the straightaway. Not too much, but just enough to maybe let the 73 know, hey, I am racing you for position. This is not going to be easy for you. Weishart giving it all he's got out of turn number 4. That's how hard he's pushing to keep that lead. You can see that gap coming down pretty quickly as Brandon Bowie has finally brought it down pit lane. He actually goes a lap down, try to fight for that back, but you can see the difference in times. Weishart at 42.77, Scioli about under 4 tenths faster than that, but Jake Nichols was a 10th faster than the 7 last time by. They might all converge on each other here in a few laps.
I think that David Weishart, these guys have been 3 times they have 4 sets of tires. Yeah, I think he'd like a caution because he will get caught. If he were to get a yellow now, at least he'd have a chance. I don't know that he will with this many laps. It's only 8 laps to go, but they're going to chunk this lead away pretty quick.
And it's still pretty spread out. That's the main issue. It's what makes it hard to get a yellow here once it does get spread out. It's just been the issue of getting to that point all week long. We finally got to that point for the time being, but there's still a pretty decently sized gap behind Jeremy Miller. He runs 9th, a couple of lap cars, Lakatos and Brandon Bowie battling for position at the same time, as the battle for 2nd will turn into the battle for the lead soon enough, and that's heating up even more.
Bringing in the 7, the 73, closing in on the 33 in the closing stages of the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series here at Auto Club. Coming to 7 to go this time by. Going to be a 3-car battle for the win as Beckner and company are 2 seconds behind race leader Weishart, but the 7 and 73 are closing in. They might even battle for 2nd here before they get to Weishart.
Yeah, this is actually something that Weishart could use, is if these 2 battle amongst themselves, they might get distracted enough that Weishart can run a couple more laps unimpeded. But again, as Connor mentioned, you don't really kill that much time, and here comes the 73.
Yeah, they're not going to lose much time battling right now. It's really a matter of they want to be in the line that David Weishart isn't in when they catch David Weishart. So right now, Jake Nichols is hoping and betting as Shane Therian leaves the session for good. His championship hopes over. Jake Nichols to the inside, he's really hoping Weishart either gives him a draft or gives him the line once they catch up. But it doesn't matter once they get away from side-by-side. Skyoli re-clears the 73.
Intriguing seeing how this plays out with Weishart all the way up on the outside, Skyler on the bottom, the 73 and Nichols buying time, maybe potentially getting a run as they're side by side for the lead down the backstretch, and the 73 looking all the way low, going to try and make it 3 wide, but 7 going to eye up the 33 once more into turn 3.
Weishart's going to have to mirror drive this down here. He's going to chase the 7 down the hill, but he can't hold that lane. The 7.
Watch this, watch Ferd, watch Nichols here. He's going to get a big run and go 3 wide.
7 tries to block it.
Can't block anything that big, as I don't think Weishart can defend both of them to his inside. They're almost both clear of him into turn number 1. Is this going to be a dogfight for the lead now? Battle for second turns into battle for the lead. Weishart back to third.
Nichols going to send it in and clear the 7 of Skyoli, but here comes a strong run from the 7 off turn 2. Not going to be enough to close in quite immensely on the 73 Nichols, but going to have Weishart giving him a little bit of a momentum push, maybe a tap. Nope. Heading into turn 3, the 7 looking low, the 73 trying to block lower.
Yeah, Jake's got a 1-lap advantage. I don't believe that that's really enough to make a huge difference, so it's going to come down to the drivers. 4 laps to go, 8 miles left here at Auto Club Speedway. For the 73 of Jake Nichols, man, how many times has he won races in area, but only once in this series this season. I think he feels he's due. Here comes James Skyoli back to the bottom, though.
Skyler's going to give it everything he's got. We saw at the end of the last long run, yeah, the 73 has a 1-lap advantage, but the 7 was faster long run. The 73 ran that higher line, did not work for him as he breaks the draft again, cuts both lanes off. 7 was faster long run, so we're getting to that point where that might start to matter. And Skyler's tires might get a little bit better, and that might be bad for Jake Nichols.
Skyoli, when he caught the 73 Nichols earlier on, he was using that bottom lane, wasn't running the middle, wasn't running the outside lane. At least yawn that 7 sideways, coming to 3 laps to go. Going to be interesting to see if the 7 goes to the outside at all, or if he continues to try and pat them on the bottom.
Skyoli's won 5 races this season. Nichols just 1. If you're playing Motorsports Robin Hood, the 73 is due to steal one from Skyoli, and about 5 miles remaining in this race.
And Nichols continues to break that draft. It's not as strong in the Xfinity Series car, but it's still enough to the point where you don't want to give them that advantage on you down the straightaway. So he's going to continue to break that draft. Nichols, now he's down to that white line to defend Skyoli, get dirty air on his nose, prevents him from really gaining anything. We'll see if Skyoli, he might need to change up his line, go to that higher line, just try to get a run. He has to try to do what the 73 doesn't. Jake Nichols is just trying to mirror what the 7 does. 2 to go.
2 laps to go, and the 7 of Skyoli just trying to find a lane, but to no avail, as the 73 Nichols is essentially mirror driving, trying to dictate which lane the 7 is going to go in. Skyoli might have to try the outside lane here in 3 and 4 if he wants to have a shot.
Turn 2 is Skyoli's better corner, and he's going to close up to within a 1/10.5 off into turn 3. Both of these drivers will be moving on to Chicagoland next week. They'll have to fight each other for a championship, but first, the penultimate race of the season.
And it's going to be tough for Skyoli to get it done without throwing a haymaker at his teammate Nichols. They've got to run in the draft. 1 more to go at Auto Club. Can Skyoli get it done? This is a reversal of Kansas 3 weeks ago.
On board to 7 as he sends it on the outside into 1 and 2 for the final time. The 73 on the bottom. Skyoli can try and build a strong enough run, but it's not working so far. That's a lot, Kyle.
Yeah, he got really loose in the middle of turn 2, so he wasn't able to build the run he needed off into turns 3 and 4. He closes the gap slightly, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. He's going to send it in on the high side here and hope he can carry some speed and momentum. Closes the gap more and more and more, but Jake Nichols has been beaten by this number 73 so many times this season, but not tonight. Jake Nichols wins his 2nd race in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series in 2024. Skyoli 2nd, Weishart 3rd, Furness and Beckner the rest of your top 5. And with that, Furness and Beckner will join the top 2 next week at Chicagoland, and all 4 of those drivers had to finish top 5 to do it.
Beckner does some celebratory drifting. It's hard to bet against either of those top 2 going into Chicagoland in this Xfinity Series car. But holy cow, they're incredibly fast. The battle between those 2 is going to be fun next week. And if you throw Furness and Beckner into it, it's going to be a show.
Yeah, great win there for the 73 and Nichols. Huge for his confidence and momentum heading into Chicagoland. Led over half of the race here, 55 of 100. And that it could not have been any better for Jake Nichols heading into next week.
Yeah, and it couldn't be been any better than me tonight, right? I picked him, started second, led most of the laps and won the race, so I will take those points. And Nichols celebrates on one of the only parts of the speedway that is left, the front straightaway. Burnout's time for Matco Tools Toyota. He'll see if he can do the same next week in the Windy City. Here's a look at your race results. Nichols, Scioli, Weishart, Furness, Beckner, your top 5. How about Greg Mitchell, 6th in that number 2 for Matthew Bell? Too little too late, Connor.
A little too late, but had a great run regardless, as did Brody Falliker. He had a top 5 taken away from at Iowa 2 weeks ago. He gets an 8th here, so that's great for him. And Garrett Grant, a 9th, Bryce Senesac 10th. Good runs for a number of drivers in what had some yellows, but for the most part a clean race. Senesac 10th. Jeremy Miller, I have to believe 11th might be his best run of the season, so he will take that any way he can get it, Hunter. Alonzo Martin, Rabel, Munsell, the top 15.
Yeah, good run for all those guys as well. Shane Abbey and Robertson were in a little bit of calamity, but pulled through. So was Colin Fambro. Delonte Ballard and Spencer Brown round out the top 20.
And looking down the rest of the order, here are 2 of the playoff drivers that will not advance to Chicagoland. Shane Therian, internet-related problems. That stinks because he had such a good run building and could have really mixed up that battle for the last driver to be in. Brandon Bowie also had issues tonight. He will not advance. He came in below the cut line. He will leave that way as well. And then, of course, a shortened race for these drivers here. Brad Slaughter on down. Crash damages for some of them. Justin Sogak out early on lap number 6 for a hellacious crash at turn number 1. That's your results. Let's talk to our third place finisher, David Weishart, tonight in the number 33. David, tonight you led 23 laps. That's nothing to sneeze at, but no championship on the line, so wins are what you're going for to come up just short. Take us through your night.
Yeah, I didn't put in any practice for this race, and I just hopped in here just to have fun. I didn't have a lot of speed in practice, and then I haul off and get the pole. It shocked me just as much as anybody else, but yeah, from there, I mean, it was all just track position. You know, it was really similar to Tuesday night. It was just a lot of fun battling up there with a handful of them guys, just racing it out, racing it clean. And we got green flag pit stops, which was nice. Gave a little strategy to the race, and I knew I seen Bell pit, I think with like 30 to go, and we were running, and it kept getting tighter in 3 and 4. That second to last run, it was so tight in 3 and 4. So I pit, I think with like 25 to go, and came out not that far behind Bell. And the last run, the track flip-flopped. I was plowing tight in 1 and 2, and James and Jake just had that little bit more tire than me. They could save tire better than me anyway, and then just add a long run there. So all in all, it was a fun night. Usually, you know, nobody wants to finish third. They want to win the race, but it was cool to see my 2 team cars there right out my windshield battling for the win.
David Weishart, third tonight in the number 33 Matco Tools Chevrolet. David, thanks so much for talking. We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. And it was James Scioli that comes up just a little bit short, just behind the 73 car. James, tonight you finished second. You won 5 races and weren't able to get your 6th tonight, but you will advance to Chicagoland, so maybe Jake won the battle, but are you winning the war next week?
That's the hope. Definitely don't like finishing second, but that was a blast. I mean, this is probably the best track for the dynamic track. He really saw the lines moving around a lot. The top was really good early, and then it kind of shifted. I was able to run the bottom that second to last run there, and then you had some guys like Jake was still running the top that run, but then it kind of flip-flopped the next run. And so when I went to turn 1 and 2 there on the last lap, I tried the top, and it was just super tight. So, but all in all, just very happy with how the race played out, how the track ran. I think Chicago is going to actually be pretty similar from what I've seen. I think that we should get some flip-flopping and stuff like that. So hopefully we can get a lot of green flag running.
Well, James, it was a great job tonight and a good, clean battle up there. Fun to watch. Thanks for putting it on. And good luck to you next week in the Windy City, and we'll likely talk to you after, and we'll see how things go.
Yeah, thank you guys for capturing our battles like that. That would be a fun one to go back and watch, so I will definitely be doing that. And then big shout out to Rick's Hot Sauce. Haven't got to shout him out as much this year, but Code Skyway will still get you $7 off there. Dandles Candles, Matco Tools, Butt Kicker, and Chris Sports Cards, and DWR. I think that we're pretty close to locking up the team championship as well. So just going to keep this momentum going, and hopefully we can have a fun, clean battle for the championship next week. Us for the top 5 today, I think it's going to be a really good race. So make sure you tune in.
Thanks, James. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
And Jake Nichols snags his second win of the season, and you had to battle all the way to the checkers effectively. A really fun fight coming back from those pit stops, driving through the field past the number 7, and you win your second race of the season. And it's a really good time to get hot, Jake, with the season finale next week. You're one of the 4 that advances in, and you didn't need to win the race tonight to get there, but you did. This has got to be a great confidence booster heading into the last race of the season.
Yeah, car felt great. It changed a lot. I felt like the first run I was really free in 3 and 4, and it just worked to my style. And then the second run it flip-flopped, where 1 and 2 was loose and 3 and 4 was tight, and then the end of the race it changed again. It was really weird. That doesn't happen very often. I just love this track. I love that I can run up top if I want to. I can run middle. I don't typically put myself on the bottom too much, but it's a fun race. Everyone raced pretty clean. Especially where I was, like, I didn't see anything abnormal. Everything was just very respectful, and it does help that we had more lanes, so you can just run. You can run your own race in this scenario. You know, if you want to get away, you can kind of run the top, or if everyone's running the top, you can run the bottom and be competitive. So great race to everybody. My night wasn't the greatest with Road to Pro and a race before that, but you know, sometimes you got to take some L's to get a W, and we'll take that. Hopefully, we can bring that to next week and both Cup and Xfinity here on Thursdays, and or the Pro Series here on Thursdays, and have a good shot, and maybe maybe win both. Who knows? We'll see. But it should be a good show for all 3 series. There's a lot of competition in all 3 that made the Final 4. Pretty much everyone, I feel like, that made all 4 deserve to be there. So it's gonna be all 3 series deserve to be there. So it's gonna be a fun week next week, and hopefully we can put on some good shows.
Yeah, James was saying that he expects there to be some similarities between this week and next. Is that really just related to the multi-groove and how you've got some choice around where you race, or is there more to it than that?
A little bit. I think recently Chicago has taken a swing where you can run a little bit more across the track rather than just one lane. There was a point there where we kind of just all arced to the same line, and that was it. But I don't know how that will play out in terms of tire wear. I don't know if you choose the top, if it's going to wear more or whatnot. But I think more than usual we'll be all over the place, at least as of recent. Obviously, you know, it's been a while since we had true dynamic track, so we've all kind of been stuck in our own lanes. But the racing's been better because really we can move around a little bit more. You know, Kansas was kind of like that. And Kansas is its own beast. I mean, it's not necessarily similar to Chicago other than the shape, but knowing what we've seen there and what we saw here, I would think you could probably run multiple grooves there. And James and I mean, we've been on top of each other. We've been damn near the same speed every week. It's going to be a good show to see which one of us can prevail. And I mean, you got John and Travis down there. I mean, they can do just as good as us. So it's going to be a good show. I hope we can all race clean throughout the whole night, and hopefully we can come out on top here in the 73 car. But we'll find out, and see you next week.
Jake Nichols in the 73 wins at Fontana. Jake, we'll see you there.
Thank you. See you then.
All right, guys. Fontana, what a week this was. I love this place. It just has put on some of the best racing of the season. And we have had a couple incidents here and there, but certainly not wreckfests of any kind. We head to Chicagoland, my current place of residence next week, although it's in Joliet a little bit to the west. Connor, final thoughts on Fontana and heading into the finale. I bet we're about to see some great racing next week.
Yeah, this was a great race, great week. We had some incidents here and there, like you said, but for the most part, once we got to racing, it was intense in all 3 series. The cut line battle on Monday was incredibly intense. It came down to the wire for the race win, and both of the other races, when the cut line for those 2 series might not have been as tight. But we have our 4 for all 3 series. Chicagoland, a little bit of multi-groove here and there. We saw it last year of Seth Knoll taking a checkered flag. Could be someone else in the Cup series, and all the other series combined, all these races. It's going to be a pretty thrilling fight to the finish of this season for all 3 series, and for everyone going for a title, it's going to be intense.
Fontana is fantastic as always, but we say farewell and we head over to the Windy City, where we crown a champion for all 3 series in the area, starting Monday with the Cup guys, Tuesday for the trucks, and then a week from now we'll be crowning a champion for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. What a race this was. Can't wait for next week.
Yeah, it was a great night here in Fontana, California. Well, buckle up your virtual trucks. Let's drive them all the way across the country to the land of Chicago, the Midwest. We'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching. Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy. We'll see you next week, Champions Week in the Windy City.